The Meridian Academy of Strategic Combat hung in low orbit above Aurora Prime like a polished dagger. Its spires caught the blue-white glow of the planet below, and every cadet within its pressure hulls had been handpicked from the core world's children of admirals, scions of merchant fleets, genetic lottery winners with reflexes tuned by birth and privilege. Zara Venn. And none of that dot, she stepped off the transit shuttle with a single duffel bag and a face that betrayed nothing. Her uniform was regulation, but faded, the fabric soft from too many washes on a colony that recycled everything, including hope. Dustfall. The name alone made other cadets wrinkle their noses. A mining rock on the edge of Commonwealth space, where the atmosphere was a suggestion and the debris storms carved new. Valleys every season. Fresh meat, someone whispered. Zara kept walking. The main concourse was a cathedral of holographic trophies and past hero portraits. Cadets moved in laughing clusters, their voices bouncing off the marble composite floors. Zara navigated through them like a shadow, never bumping, never meeting eyes. She found her quarters a 4-person berth with 3 empty bunks. She took the one nearest the emergency hatch. Old habit. By evening, the rumors had crystallized. The quiet girl from Dustfall had scored in the bottom percentile on the written exams. Her piloting simulations were described by instructors adequate but unremarkable. She ate alone in the mess hall, chewing slowly, watching the air vents and exits. Cadet Cale Wren noticed her on the second day. He was everything Zara was not. Tall, golden-haired, loud. His father commanded the 7th Fleet. His mother designed warship AI. Cale had never failed at anything in his life, and he made sure everyone knew it. "Hey, Dustball," he called across the training yard. His entourage laughed. "You lost? The recycling plant is 3 decks down." Zara looked at him. Just looked. No flush of anger, no wounded silence. Her eyes were the color of old steel. Cale felt a flicker of unease, but buried it under a smirk. "What's wrong? Too much gravity for you here? I heard you people live in caves." Someone snickered. Zara picked up her tray, walked to the disposal unit, and left. Not a single wasted motion. That night, the commandant addressed the entire first-year class. Commander Thorne was a woman whose face looked like it had been carved from an asteroid and then left in the rain too long. She stood on the holographic stage and let the silence stretch until even Cale stopped fidgeting. "Tomorrow," Thorne said, "you begin survival training. Not a sim. Not a game." She pressed a button. The holotank displayed a graveyard of ships, a debris field orbiting a dead star. "This is the Shattered Reach. Decommissioned warships, leaking reactors, zero-G corridors, and automated defense drones that do not know you are cadets. You will be divided into squads. Your objective: retrieve a data core from the central wreck and return to extraction point." A cadet raised a hand. "Live fire, ma'am?" Thorne's smile was thin as a razor. "If you die in there, you die for real. We will retrieve your body if there's anything left to retrieve." The room went cold. Cale glanced back at Zara. She was staring at the debris field hologram, but her expression wasn't fear. It was something worse. It looked like recognition. Someone whispered, "She's probably going to cry in the first 5 minutes." Zara heard them. Her left hand drifted to her chest, where beneath her uniform, a dented metal ID tag rested against her sternum. Her brother's tag. The one they found 3 clicks from the settlement after the storm. Fused to a rock by heat and silence. She said nothing, but for the first time, her lips moved in a near-silent whisper. "One more day." Emmerich. Then she lay down on her bunk, closed her eyes, and dreamed of vacuum. The transport shuttle shook as it entered the Shattered Reach. Through the viewport, cadets could see the wreckage. Cruises snapped in half like broken bones. Frigates impaled on each other's hulls, and everywhere debris. Thousands of glittering shards catching the light of a dying star. Zara sat in the back row, harness tight, hands still. Her squad had been assigned by lottery. 3 other cadets the system had labeled remedial. There was Jocks, a mechanic's son with nervous hands and a stammer. There were the Tanis twins, Myra and Soren, who'd been raised on a corporate agri-world and had never seen a real weapon before yesterday. Their first words upon seeing Zara: "Oh great, we got the weird one." Kale's squad, the Apex team, sat in the front. They laughed too loudly, checked their gear too confidently. Kale had already bragged he'd finished the drill in under 40 minutes. The Academy record was 50-2. Commander Thorne's voice crackled over the comms. "You will launch in 30 seconds. Your drop pods will scatter you across the perimeter wreckage. Navigate inward. Survive. Retrieve the core. No external support. No rescue unless confirmed casualties." The launch alarms blared. Zara checked her suit seals. Her oxygen readout, 6 hours. Her magnetic boots, charged. Her weapon, a standard pulse carbine with a laughably low power cell. The other 3 cadets fumbled with their gear. "Hey," Jocks whispered to Zara. "Aren't you?" "Scared?" Zara turned her head slowly. "Scared is useful. Panic kills." The pod lurched and shot into the void. Landing was violent. Zara's pod slammed through a torn cargo bay and embedded itself in a bulkhead. She kicked the hatch open and dropped into 0G, immediately grabbing a handrail. Around her, the wreck groaned metal fatigue, residual power fluctuations, and something else. A rhythm. Thump. Thump. Automated defenses powering up. Myra screamed over the squad channel. Soren's pod didn't open. "He's stuck." Zara saw the pod 20 meters away, jammed between 2 collapsed decks. The emergency release was bent. Inside, Soren was pounding on the viewport, eyes wide. "Jax, get to cover," Zara ordered. "Myra, vent your suit pressure by 10%. You'll move faster." "I'll get your brother." Myra stared. "Who put you in charge?" Zara was already moving. She pushed off the handrail, twisted mid-flight, and landed feet first on Soren's pod. Her magnetic boots locked. She grabbed the manual override lever and pulled. It didn't budge. The metal around it had warped. The thump, thump, thump grew louder. Drones. Zara didn't hesitate. She slammed her fist into the emergency glass, cracked it once, twice, then ripped the override panel open with her bare hands, tearing the skin of her right glove. Vacuum kissed her knuckles. She rewired the release circuit with 2 quick movements, yanking a wire from her own suit's diagnostics port. The hatch hissed open. Soren tumbled out, gasping. Zara grabbed his collar and hurled him toward a reinforced doorway just as 3 automated drones rounded the corner. Black spheres with rotating pulse cannons. They locked onto heat signatures. "Run," Zara said. They ran behind her. The drones fired. Laser bolts melted handrails, punched through hull plates. Zara didn't look back. She calculated angles, ricochet paths, and the decaying orbit of a nearby thruster assembly. At the last second, she kicked a loose fuel canister into the corridor. The drone's targeting systems prioritized the moving object. The canister exploded, taking out 2 drones. The third adjusted. Zara slid under its firing arc, grabbed a broken pipe from the deck, and jammed it into the drone's emitter array. Sparks. A short circuit. The drone spun wildly and crashed into a bulkhead. Silence.jax. Mira and Soren stared at her. Zara's right hand was bleeding through the torn glove, freeze-dried blood crystallizing in vacuum. She flexed her fingers. "The core is 3 decks up," she said. "Stay close. Don't breathe unless I tell you." Myra opened her mouth to argue. Then she looked at the destroyed drones, at Zara's unblinking eyes, at the way the quiet girl from Dustfall hadn't even broken a sweat. She closed her mouth. Kale's voice crackled over the open channel. Smug and loud. Apex team already at the central wreck. Try to keep up, losers. Zara pressed her bleeding hand to her chest, over her brother's tag. Not yet, Emmerich. Almost there. Move, she said, and they moved. The central wreck was a carrier-class vessel named Last Honor. Its flight deck had been torn open like a tin can, exposing launch bays and skeletal fighter frames. Kale's Apex team was already inside. Using their superior gear signal boosters, tactical overlay helmets, military-grade pulse rifles to sweep the corridors, Zara's squad entered through a hull breach on the port side. The air was unbreathable, a toxic mix of coolant vapor and burning insulation. Their suit filters strained. The Tanis twins were already panting, their oxygen dropping faster than it should. Check your seals, Zara said. Quietly, Mira looked at her wrist display. They're fine. You're paranoid. Zara grabbed Mira's arm and pointed to a hairline crack along the neck ring. Your seal is compromised. You've been venting for 10 minutes. She tore a strip of adhesive from her own emergency kit and sealed the crack in 3 seconds. Don't thank me. Just keep up. They descended into the reactor deck. The Last Honor's power core had gone cold years ago, but backup batteries still hummed, feeding automated systems. Including the defense matrix, a noise echoed from above. Scraping. Deliberate. Zara froze. Held up a fist. Kale stepped onto a gantry overlooking them, flanked by his squad. He wasn't looking for the data core. He was looking at Zara. Double quotes, while he said, his voice amplified by his helmet's external speaker. The dustball made it past the tutorial. Zara said nothing. Kale's smile turned ugly. You know, the instructors said live fire, but they didn't specify who's shooting. He raised his hand. Behind him, a cadet named Voss held a portable reprogramming deck and a legal device that could override drone IFF tags. Voss tapped a command. 3 new drones dropped from ceiling hatches. These weren't the training models from earlier. These were Honor-class defenders, armor-plated, rapid-fire, and their targeting arrays glowed red. Live ammunition. JX grabbed Zara's arm. They're going to kill us. The drones swiveled towards Zara's squad. Kale laughed. Accidents happen in the Reach. That's what the report will say. The first drone fired. Zara moved. She didn't run. She dove toward the drone, sliding on her knees across the grated deck. The pulse rounds shredded the floor behind her. She came up beneath the drone's firing arc, ripped a power conduit from the wall, and shorted the drone's propulsion system. It crashed. She stomped on its emitter array with her magnetic boot once, twice, and it went dark. The second drone adjusted. Zara grabbed the first drone's carcass and used it as a shield, advancing. Rounds pinged off the armor. She reached the second drone, tore open its access panel, and pulled a tangled nest of wiring. For 3 seconds, her fingers danced across color-coded leads. The drone's IFF blinked. Changed from red to green. It turned and fired on the third drone. Kale's smile vanished. What the? Zara stood in the smoke, her bleeding hand now wrapped in a makeshift bandage torn from her own sleeve. Her eyes found Kale through the haze. Your friend's reprogramming deck, she said, voice calm as still water. It uses a standard Meridian encryption handshake. I saw the same system on Dustfall's salvage drones. She took a step forward. We used to reprogram them to hunt debris. The trick is to invert the authentication pulse. Voss stared at his deck. That's impossible. That would require 21 seconds, Zara said. That's how long it took me. Kale drew his pulse rifle. You're lying. Am I? Zara tilted her head. Check your own IFF, Golden Boy. Kale glanced at his wrist display. His squad's tactical overlays flickered. A new signal had infiltrated their network, not a drone, but a cadet suit ID, Zara's. She'd piggybacked on the reprogramming. Dex handshake and gained partial access to their comms. She could hear everything they said. See their helmet feeds. You wanted to play games? Zara said. I grew up in a place where the debris storms don't care about your father's fleet. I'm not here to beat you. She turned her back on Kale, a deliberate, devastating insult. I'm here to survive. She walked toward the reactor core access hatch, her squad scrambling after her. Behind her, Kale's hands shook around his rifle. He didn't fire, because in that moment, for the first time in his life, he realized he was afraid of someone smaller, quieter, an utterly unbreakable dot, and Zara knew it. The reactor core chamber of the Last Honor was a cathedral of dead machinery. Fusion coils hung like frozen lightning, and the central data core, their objective, glowed with a faint amber light, still powered by ancient backup cells. Zara's squad spread out, breathing hard. The Tannis twins exchanged glances that were no longer mocking. Jox kept looking at Zara's hands, the way they never shook, even with blood drying on her knuckles. We have the core, Myra said. Let's call extraction. Not yet. Zara was kneeling by a maintenance terminal. Her fingers flew across the cracked screen, pulling up ship schematics. The Last Honor's auxiliary reactors are failing. In about 15 minutes, this entire section vents plasma. We need to leave through the dorsal emergency shaft, not the way we came. How do you know that? Soren asked. Zara didn't answer immediately. Her eyes had gone distant, unfocused. The terminal's flickering light caught the ID tag beneath her uniform, and for a moment, she wasn't in the wreck anymore. She was 7 years old, on Dustfall, holding her brother Emmerich's hand as the early warning sirens wailed. Debris storm inbound. All residents to shelters. Their shelter was a converted cargo container buried under 6 meters of regolith. Emmerich was 9. He'd already learned to read the colony's atmospheric sensors. He'd shown Zara how to calculate impact trajectories using a broken calculator and a star chart. CZ? The big ones fall slower because of drag. The small ones are faster, but burn up. It's the medium ones you watch. The storm hit. The shelter held until it didn't. A fragment of an old warship, still spinning from a battle fought 30 years before Zara was born, punched through the regolith and tore open the container's roof. Zara remembered vacuum pulling at her lungs. Remembered Emmerich throwing his body over hers, his small hands pressing her face into the dirt floor. Remembered the hiss of escaping air, the scream of alarms, and then silence. When the recovery team found them, Emmerich was dead. His suit had been torn across the chest. He'd given Zara his oxygen tank. She'd been conscious the whole time. Watched the light leave his eyes. Felt his grip loosen. She was 7 years old. The colony gave her his ID tag. They said he died a hero. Zara never spoke about it again. Zara? Jax's voice pulled her back. You spaced out. She blinked. The terminal schematic was still on screen. Dorsal shaft, she repeated. We go now. They moved. Zara took point, navigating through collapsing corridors with an eerie familiarity. She knew which decks would hold, which ladders would snap, which hatches led to dead ends. Not from training, from experience. The dustfall storms had taught her to read structural weaknesses in seconds. The colony's salvage economy had taught her to strip a warship for parts before breakfast. The death of her brother had taught her something the Academy never could. Survival isn't a skill. It's a promise you make to the dead. They reached the dorsal shaft. The hatch was jammed. Soren tried to force it. Mira tried to cut through with her carbine's low-powered beam. Nothing worked. Zara stepped forward. She pressed both palms against the cold metal and closed her eyes. You said when I could open the emergency doors by myself, you'd take me to see the topside stars. Emmerich, his laugh muffled through his helmet. You're too small, Z. Watch me. She'd been 6. She'd hung from the release lever with her whole body weight, swinging back and forth until the mechanism groaned and gave way. Now, in the last honor, she did the same thing. Magnetic boots to the deck, both hands on the manual release. She pulled not with muscle alone, but with leverage, with the knowledge of exactly where the rust had weakened the mechanism. The hatch opened. Behind her. Jocks whispered, "How?" Zara stepped into the shaft. Because I've been opening dead doors my whole life. They climbed toward extraction, leaving the burning wreck behind. But Kale's squad was still inside, and Zara hadn't forgotten. The dorsal shaft opened onto the last honor's observation deck, a wide, dome-shaped chamber with a cracked viewport overlooking the debris field. Zara's squad emerged first, gasping, their oxygen reserves critical. Extraction was supposed to meet them here. Instead, they found only static on the comms. Jamming, Jock said, tapping his helmet. Localized. Someone doesn't want us calling for help. Zara checked the deck's emergency systems. The ship's failing reactors had shifted, not a slow venting now, but a cascade. In less than 8 minutes, the last honor would tear itself apart, and Kale's squad was still 3 decks below. Myra saw her expression. You're not thinking of going back. They'll die, Zara said simply. They tried to kill us. Zara turned to face Myra. For the first time, the steel in her eyes cracked, just slightly. My brother died because I was too small to open a door fast enough. I'm not small anymore. She left her carbine with Jack's, took only a handlight and her brother's tag against her chest. Then she dropped back into the shaft and descended into the burning wreck. The heat was immediate. Her suit's temperature alarms blared. She silenced them. Smoke-thick, chemical, blinding filled the corridors. She navigated by memory and touch, moving faster than anyone had a right to. She found Kale's squad pinned in a collapsed maintenance bay. A plasma fire had cut off their exit. Voss was unconscious, his helmet cracked. Another cadet, a girl named Ensley, had a broken leg. Kale was trying to blast through a bulkhead with his pulse rifle, but the shots only made the fire worse. Stop, Zara said. Kale spun. His face, visible through his soot-streaked visor, was a mask of rage and terror. This is your fault. No. Zara walked past him to the fire control panel. It was dead. She looked at the burning plasma conduit, a hairline fracture spewing blue-white fire. The main cutoff is in the coolant loop, but it's on the other side of that fire. Then we're dead. Ensley whispered. Zara was already moving. She pulled a ration bar from her belt-compressed nutrient paste, highly flammable. She wrapped it in a strip of cloth, lit it with a spark from her handlight, and threw it past the fire. The makeshift flare burned bright, drawing the plasma fire's attention. Flames surged toward the new heat source. For 3 seconds, the gap was clear. Zara dove through. On the other side, she found the coolant cutoff. Manual override. Rusted. She grabbed it with both hands and pulled. Nothing. She slammed her shoulder into it. Once, twice, 3 times felt something in her left arm crack, and on the 4th. The valve turned. The coolant flooded the conduit. The plasma fire died with a shriek of superheated steam. Zara collapsed against the wall, gasping. Her arm throbbed. Her oxygen was down to 11 minutes. Kale stared at her through the clearing smoke. His rifle hung at his side. His arrogance was gone, replaced by something raw and ashamed. Why? He asked. Zara pulled herself up. She walked past him, grabbed Voss by the collar, and began dragging him toward the shaft. Because you would have let me die. That's the difference between us. They climbed. Every meter was agony. Zara's broken arm screamed. Voss's weight threatened to pull her off the ladder. Below, the last honor began to groan deep, seismic. The sound of a ship giving up. The observation deck. Extraction had finally arrived a shuttle with its ramp down. Commander Thorn herself, standing at the hatch. Zara pushed Voss onto the ramp. Ensley limped aboard. Cale crawled in last, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Zara took one step toward the ramp. The deck beneath her feet buckled. She fell not into the shaft, but sideways through a collapsing floor panel. Her hand caught a support beam. She hung there, 10 meters above the burning reactor core, her broken arm useless, her good hand slipping. Zara! Jack screamed. She looked up. She could see them all, her squad, Cale, the commander. She could see the shuttle's interior lights. She could feel the beam bending. Not like this, she thought. Not like Emmerich. She reached for her brother's tag, clutched it, and the most unexpected voice came over her helmet speaker. Cale, don't you dare die, dustball. I'm not done apologizing. He threw her a cable. The debriefing hall was silent. All 80 cadets sat in tiered rows, facing a holoscreen that displayed the entire training exercise, every camera feed, every biometric reading, every moment of the last 6 hours. Commander Thorn stood at the podium. Her face was unreadable. Beside her, 3 academy instructors watched Zara Ven with expressions that ranged from astonishment to something like fear. Zara sat in the back row, her left arm in a cast, her right hand bandaged. She hadn't slept. She didn't need to. Sleep was a luxury she'd learned to forgo on Dustfall during storm season. The exercise, Thorn began, had 2 objectives. Retrieve the data core, survive. One squad succeeded in both. She pressed a button. The holoscreen displayed the core, now safely extracted, and the names of Zara's squad. JX, Myra, Soren, Zara Ven. Applause. Polite. Grudging. But their. Then Thorn pressed another button. The screen switched to Cale's drone reprogramming attempt. His illegal deck. His deliberate targeting of another squad. The entire hall watched Voss tap the commands. Watched the drones switch to live rounds. Watched Zara dismantle them with her bare hands. The silence that followed was absolute. Cale rose from his seat. His face was pale, but he didn't look away from the screen. I did it, he said. His voice cracked. I tried to kill them, because I was afraid of her. Thorn's eyes were cold. You understand what this means? Yes, ma'am. Cale turned to face Zara. I'll accept expulsion. Court-martial. Whatever. Zara stood. The hall held its breath. She walked down the aisle, her footsteps echoing. Stopped in front of Cale. Looked up at him, because even now he was taller, broader, more privileged. You're not expelled, she said. Thorn's eyebrows rose. Cadet Ven, that's not your decision. With respect, ma'am, it is. Zara didn't turn around. Because I'm not pressing charges. I'm not filing a complaint. Cale blinked. Why? Zara reached into her collar and pulled out Emmerich's ID tag. The dented metal caught the light. My brother died because he gave me his oxygen. He didn't have to. No one would have known if he'd kept it. But he chose to save me. She pressed the tag into Cale's hand. You threw me a cable when the floor collapsed. That's the only thing that matters. Cale stared at the tag. His hand shook. A tear, the first any of them had ever seen from him, rolled down his cheek. I don't deserve this, he whispered. No, Zara agreed. You don't, so you're going to spend the rest of your career earning it. She took the tag back, pressed it to her heart. You trained to win. I trained to live. Learn the difference. Thorn cleared her throat. Cadet Ven, a word. The hall emptied. Cadets filed out in stunned silence, their entire hierarchy shattered. The quiet girl from Dustfall had not only survived, she had rewritten the rules. In the empty room, Thorn faced Zara. You know this isn't over. The Academy will want to study you. Your reflexes, your decision-making under stress. You're not normal. Zara met her gaze. I know. There's a unit. Phantom Corps. They don't recruit from academies. They don't recruit from military databases. They find people like you. Thorn slid a data chip across the podium. You have 72 hours to decide. Zara picked up the chip. I don't need 72 hours. Thorn almost smiled. I didn't think you would. 3 weeks later, Zara Venn stood on the observation deck of a stealth frigate named Silent Prayer. The ship had no registry, no transponder, no visible markings. Its hull absorbed light like a hole in space. Behind her, the Meridian Academy shrank to a bright speck. Ahead, the void stretched endless and cold. Her new team was small. 6 operators, none of whom spoke more than necessary. Their leader, a woman named Commander Yarrow, had recruited Zara with a handshake and a single sentence. We go where the Commonwealth can't. We do what the fleet won't. You'll never get credit. You'll never come home the same. Do you understand? Zara had nodded. Now, she stood alone, watching Dustfall appear on the main view screen. Her home. A brown-gray marble with a single thin band of green, the only habitable strip, carved out by decades of desperate survival. Ghost Leader, Yarrow's voice came over the intercom. We're alone out here. No backup, no rescue. Just us. Zara touched her chest. Emmerich's tag was still there, warm against her skin. She smiled. The first real smile she'd shown anyone since she was 7 years old. Good, she said. That's when I work best. The Silent Prayer slipped into the debris field surrounding Dustfall. Zara took the helm. Her fingers danced across the controls, not with arrogance, but with the quiet precision of someone who had spent a lifetime learning that one mistake meant death. The debris parted around the ship like water around a stone. Plotting a course through the storm, she said. ETA to drop point 20 minutes. Yarrow watched from the command chair. You've done this before. Zara didn't answer. She didn't need to. The way she flew said everything. Below, on Dustfall, the colony's early warning sensors picked up the Silent Prayer, but only as a ghost, a flicker of heat that vanished almost instantly. The colonists went back to their work, mining, recycling, surviving. But one of them, an old woman, who had known Zara's mother, looked up at the sky and smiled. That girl, she murmured. She made it after all. In the frigate's cockpit, Zara pulled up a file on her display. Her first mission: infiltrate a warlord's stronghold in the outer dark, extract a captured intelligence officer, and leave no trace. Standard Phantom Corps operation. Impossible odds. Zara leaned back in her seat. Her broken arm had healed. Her hands were steady. Her brother's tag hung against her heart. She thought of Cale's face when she'd refused to destroy him. She thought of the Tanis twins, who had saluted her before she left. She thought of Commander Thorn's almost smile, and she thought of Emmerich, who had died so she could live. Watch me, she whispered. The Silent Prayer jumped to slipstream, and the stars became streaks of silver fire. Zara Venn, the ghost of Dustfall, the quiet girl who broke the academy, the newest recruit of the Phantom Corps, disappeared into the darkness, and somewhere in the debris field behind her, a warship's broken data core flickered one last time as if in salute.